Year 3, welcome to another Inside Out video. Again, this video is a lesson that you are doing in school. If you're coming into school, there is an activity at the end that is different to the one that you did in school. So you can still watch it if you have been in school. And if you're not coming to school, then enjoy. So to start off this lesson, I'd like you to watch the clip again that we watched in our last lesson. So in the YouTube search bar, you need to type in Inside Out opening scene, or you can use the blue link here. You can copy all of the letters and numbers into your browser search bar. This time, when you watch the clip, I want you to think about what the purpose of each emotion is. So pause this video, go and do that, and then come back. So, an important lesson from the film is to understand that all emotions have a purpose, even negative ones. So even emotions that we don't like feeling, like fear or sadness, are important. And there is actually a reason that we feel those things. Have a look at this picture. What emotion would you feel if you were stood here, and why would that emotion be helpful? Pause the video and talk to somebody near you. So you might feel lots of things if this was your house, but your biggest thing probably would be fear. You would feel the emotion fear, and it would be a helpful thing to feel because that makes you run away. And you need to run away from the fire, otherwise you're going to get hurt. So feeling fear keeps you safe. What about in this scenario? What emotion would you feel, and why would that be useful? How would that emotion help you? Pause the video and talk to the person you're with. So you would probably, hopefully, feel disgust because the bread is covered in mold. You know that mold is not good, it looks horrible, you're going to be disgusted by it. And that is an important emotion to feel because it means that you're not going to eat this bread that's gone off. And it's good that you don't eat the bread because if you did eat it, it would probably make you ill. So feeling disgust keeps you safe. Now, sometimes the emotion that we feel isn't actually useful for us, but it was useful for humans once. And that explains why we sometimes feel things even though they don't make sense. Because we've evolved for over a very long time, and we still have some of the same emotions that people might have had who were living in caves and a long time ago. And they were living different lives and they needed to feel different things. So, for example, I have a fear of spiders. I really don't like it when I find a spider in my house. I don't want to go near it and I don't want to take it outside and throw it out the window. Is that fear useful for me? Was it ever useful for humans? Think about humans living in the Stone Age. Was it useful for them to be afraid of spiders? Is it useful for some people living today? Pause the video and have a talk to the person you're with. Okay, so it's not useful for me to be afraid of spiders. That fear that I have doesn't actually help me because in this country, spiders can't hurt you. They're much smaller than you, and touching a spider is not going to put me in any danger. What about humans in the Stone Age? Well, they were living in caves. They probably had a lot of spiders around, and they might have lived near spiders that were dangerous. So it might have been a useful thing for them to be scared of spiders because they should have been scared of spiders. If a spider is poisonous, then you need that fear to make sure that you don't get stung and keep you safe. Is it useful for some people today to have fear of spiders? Yes, people who live in countries where spiders can be dangerous, it would be a very useful thing for them to have fear of spiders because it keeps them away, so it keeps them safe. And what about this one? Fear of heights. Now, in this picture, this person is bungee jumping. They are strapped to a cord. There have been lots of maths has happened, lots of science, so it's all very safe. The cord is going to keep you safe, but that makes me scared. That fear that I have, is that useful? Was it ever useful? Is it useful for some people? Where do you think that fear has come from, me being afraid of this? Can you pause the video and talk to the person you're with? Okay, so me being afraid of doing bungee jump isn't really that useful a fear because it's safe, it's a safe thing to do. But being afraid of heights is a useful fear to have because if you're doing something silly up high, and you were a cave person, imagine, and if you fell down a mountain, you could really hurt yourself. Even today, if you go to an unsafe place and you're up high, then you could hurt yourself if you fall down. So having a fear of heights is a sensible fear to have, even though you're not always in danger. So can you think of anything else, any other fears you have or any other emotions you have that are not useful for you, but that maybe would have been useful in the past or that could be useful in certain situations? Maybe you can think of some fears of other animals or anything else that could be dangerous. So pause this video to have a chat about that. Okay, so now I'd like you to have a think about anger. We've talked about why fear and disgust are useful or were useful. What about anger? Is anger useful? Can it ever be useful? Could it have helped cave people and the early humans in any way, do you think? Pause the video and have a think. Why do you think that we as human beings have evolved to feel anger? So I'm sure you came up with a few ideas. It's a tricky one to think about anger. Anger is useful because it motivates us. If we're angry that something is unfair or not right, then we're motivated to change it. We want to change it and make it better, just like Martin Luther King did. Anger might also have been useful in the past because it might have helped people stay alive. So in the Stone Age, when there wasn't a lot of food around, you might have needed to show anger to make sure that you get what you need. So for example, when everybody's eating, if somebody doesn't give you any food, if you got angry, maybe that would make it more likely that you would get food. And then you survived. What about sadness? When is sadness useful? And how could sadness have helped people in the past? Or does it help people now? Pause the video and have a talk to the person you're with. Sadness is a really difficult one to think about because it doesn't seem like it's useful really. But actually, being sad sometimes is very important. Sadness, one good thing about sadness is that it motivates us as well. If we feel sad about something, then we try to improve it and we try to make it better. Sadness is something that we often feel because of love. We're sad if we miss somebody or something that we love. And love is a very useful thing to feel because it keeps us safe. The people who we love look after us. So maybe you can think sadness is useful because sadness is the other half of love, and love is very useful. Being afraid of sadness, so not wanting to be sad, is useful because it means that you look after the things you care about. You behave in a certain way to try to avoid sadness. So, for example, you don't want to be sad, you don't want to lose your favourite toy because you'll be sad. So you look after your favourite toy. And that means that you behave in a sensible way. Being sad sometimes means that when you're happy, you feel a stronger sense of happiness. So you won't know what happiness is if you never feel sad. You have to be sad sometimes to be able to be happy. And the main reason that I wanted to do this lesson is just for us all to think about the fact that all emotions happen for a reason, even if that reason is no longer relevant. So even me being afraid of spiders, it might seem silly, but actually it's not silly. There is a reason that people are afraid of spiders, or some people are. There is no such thing as a wrong emotion. Anything that you're feeling, there's a reason that you're feeling it, okay? No such thing as a wrong emotion. And that's what's really important to remember, even those emotions that we don't like to feel. So what I'd like you to do, that's the lesson that we did in school, and we just had a discussion. What I'd like you to do now as your activity is to complete some writing for me. So I'd like you to write about each emotion, and I'd like you to tell me why it is an important emotion to have. So fear is useful because, and you can give me lots of examples. You can use examples from your own life if you can think of any. You can do what you want with it as long as you write something about each of the 5 emotions. Okay, thank you, Year 3.